this is something that a lot of people need to know. We're not taught in school the basics of budgeting. We're not taught how to manage our finances. We're not taught how to fill out a check. We're not taught how to open a bank account. These are just the basic things on a physical level, but it's so much deeper than that. And when you can understand that, those habits really become automatic. It becomes a way of life because it's like, oh, this is the easy part. The energetic work, uncovering and releasing those limiting beliefs, that's the work where it takes that support and accountability to have people in your corner to say, that might be a limiting belief. That might be something that you need to work on so that you can move forward in a way that is easy and peaceful for you and your lifestyle.
Thank you, Jalisa, because I know that, I've also had my relationship with money and I struggled for a long time. And it took me a while to really understand the power of our limiting beliefs. I would love you to explain a little bit more about what is a limiting belief around money, for instance. What are some of the things that we can become more mindful? Because sometimes we think a belief is not limiting, but it is. And, it's about really becoming much more mindful about these beliefs. Just give us some examples or, what a limiting belief around money could be like. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Daily Soul Bar Show. I am your host, Bolaabimbola. This is the show where we interview guest authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs to share their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today I have a very special guest all the way from Maryland in the States. Her name is Jalisa Hardy. Welcome to the show, Jalisa.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited we're finally able to get together to have this conversation. I know it's going to be life-changing.
Oh, that's wonderful. No, I wanted it to be a perfect time. So whatever it was happening, I knew that this was going to work out to be the time that would work best for us and for the collective. So thank you for hanging in there.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So I'm going to read your bio before we start, Jalisa. Jalisa is a holistic health practitioner with expertise in human design, holistic health, and financial self-care. She guides women in their journeys to self-awareness, emotional mastery, and spiritual awakening. Jalisa's work blends healing practices with conscious wealth creation, empowering women to transform their lives through mindfulness and personal transformation. I love that. I particularly love, Jalisa, your approach to healing our relationship with money. And I would love to hear a bit about that at some point. But first, I want to hear about what led you to this place. What led you to this place where you are now really understanding how our relationship with money needs to become much more mindful. Tell us a bit about your journey to this place.
So it's a journey that's continuing to unfold. As you think about relationships, you know that there are phases that a relationship might go through. You grow, the other party grows. And for me, my relationship with money started out very dysfunctional because a lot of our habits, life habits, our habits with money, our relationship with money really starts with the people that we grow up with. So their relationship with money impacts us to the point where we have these beliefs, whether limiting or positive beliefs in our relationship with money that impact us as we grow. So for me, it was about understanding that and exposing those limiting beliefs so that I can shift to a new level in my mindset when it came to wealth. It's so much deeper than when you look at your bank account to say, oh, this is what it looks like or this is what it doesn't look like. It's so much deeper than that. When you can look at your bank account, even if it doesn't look the way that you want it to, and still say I'm abundant, and still say I'm wealthy, and still say I'm free, and still say I have peace, that's when you know you have a positive relationship with money. And even when it's where you want it to be, that doesn't dictate how you feel. That doesn't dictate your identity. It doesn't dictate anything. It just is what it is. So for me, exposing those limiting beliefs, understanding where my habits came from, and reprogramming my mind and shifting my energy around it is how I got to the place of saying, like, okay, this is something that a lot of people need to know. We're not taught in school the basics of budgeting. We're not taught how to manage our finances. We're not taught how to fill out a check. We're not taught how to open a bank account. These are just the basic things on a physical level, but it's so much deeper than that. And when you can understand that, those habits really become automatic. It becomes a way of life because it's like, oh, this is the easy part. The energetic work, uncovering and releasing those limiting beliefs, that's the work where it takes that support and accountability to have people in your corner to say, that might be a limiting belief. That might be something that you need to work on so that you can move forward in a way that is easy and peaceful for you and your lifestyle.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you, Jalisa. Because I know that, I've also had my relationship with money and I struggled for a long time. And it took me a while to really understand the power of our limiting beliefs. And I'd love you to take us through a bit of that because this is really where it starts. I totally agree with you. The beliefs that we hold, the beliefs that we've been conditioned with, and they take us to a point because sometimes we need to know how to manage our money better. But sometimes because it's one thing to just be very thrifty and spend money in a way that doesn't really serve us. So it's important to have some beliefs that help us to be mindful. But I would love you to explain a little bit more about what is a limiting belief around money, for instance. What are some of the things that we can become more mindful? Because sometimes we think a belief is not limiting, but it is. And, it's about really becoming much more mindful about these beliefs. Just give us some examples or, what a limiting belief around money could be like.
So as I mentioned, our programming, our beliefs around money started from, I would say, from ages 0 to 7. I have a background in child development. So those are our very primitive years that really program how we are, our habits as we grow up, and the things that we do as adults. So during those years, did you hear things like, oh, we can't afford it? Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, no, that you can't get that. Like those types of things that program you and your relationship with money to believe things like, oh, I'm not worthy of having more. Oh, there's never going to be enough. Oh, I'll always experience poverty. Oh, my business will never make the amount of money that I want it to make. Those are the limiting beliefs that you need to really uncover because a lot of them are unconscious. And the energy work that I do to really uncover them and uproot them and release them is literally instantaneous. And people are like, wait a minute, how did you do that? We're programmed to believe it's so much harder. It takes so much longer. It takes so much more work than it really is. But if you understand, beliefs are energy. And you can shift energy in an instant so that belief will be shifted and you'll move in a completely different way than you did before. So understanding that, okay, exposing it is one thing, but releasing it, that takes it to the next level so that you can replace that limiting belief with the truth that serves you in your relationship with money.
Yeah, thank you for those examples. And yes, you're right. I totally agree with you that a lot of them are unconscious beliefs or subconscious beliefs. And we can uncover them or identify them, or it may come to us at some point in our day to day. But what we do with it and how we shift it is another thing. What can clients expect when they come to you? I know you're an energy practitioner as well. How do you use energy practice to shift limiting beliefs or to really transform our relationships with money?
As you mentioned, I'm a holistic health practitioner, so I don't just deal with the energy. We have a spiritual body, a physical body, a mental and emotional, and an energetic body. So I really help you to integrate and unify all of those bodies in your relationship with money so that moving forward, when those limiting beliefs come up or they're exposed, you're like, oh, I know what that is, versus it just being this unconscious or subconscious moving habits and ways of being. It's like sometimes we can be in a trance where we're just going through life, going with the motions, doing things as we've normally done them, moving forward as things have always been done, instead of questioning, why do I do that? Why do I believe that? Why do I think that? So the work that I do is really to support you with questioning and asking yourself the right questions to get to the roots of those limiting beliefs, to really uncover those limiting beliefs so that you can shift them to say, this wasn't even my belief to begin with. This came from my parent, or this came from all these generations ago, or this came from an experience that I had. To uncover it and really seeing, oh, that's where that came from. That wasn't even my belief. That makes it so much easier to shift, because it's like we sometimes identify with those beliefs. We sometimes identify with those habits or those ways of being as if it's really us. But our truest identity is so much bigger and so much more than we can even imagine. So when we can shift those limiting beliefs, we're able to walk in our boldness, our light, and our most authentic selves, to show the world what's possible, to show the world there are really no limits to what we can achieve and who we are. So for me, that's my work, to really be able to support people to see and be their most authentic selves. And in return, their relationship with money shifts, because their relationship with themselves and how they see themselves shifts.
I love that. I totally agree with you. We're holistic beings. And I hear you when you say, yes, there is an understanding that those beliefs do not belong to. And we can come to be, to detach a little bit from these beliefs. Because behind every belief is some kind of intention, some kind of inclination. It could even be ancestral sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not always easy to let go of these things. How do you help your clients to kind of, and there's also the fear of the unknown, because no matter how enticing this world of abundance is, there is always that fear of the unknown. It is unknown. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they say, the one you know is better than the one you don't know. And so there is a lot reluctance, and resistance comes up at different levels. I would love you to, if you could just take us through an example of what you would do with a client who comes to you, and there is that little bit of an understanding that this world is a world of lack, and there's nothing I can do. This is just the way it is. It's the government, it's the policies. It's I have certain limitations. In my family, within myself, or my health, or there. How do we come to really believe that we are abundant? We ourselves carry that energy of abundance. How do we get to that place of believing we're in a world of lack to we are in a world of abundance, or we are abundant?
Yeah, and it starts with a willingness. Are you willing to shift that belief? Because if you're not willing to shift that belief, because it's been so ingrained in your identity, no matter what question I ask you, no matter what thing I unlock in your subconscious, it's not going to shift. So it starts with the person being willing to say, okay, I'm willing to step out of this belief that I have lack, that there will always be lack in my life. So really being able to show them ask the questions that need to be asked for them. Everybody's situation is different. So the way that I work with one person is not going to be the same that I work with way that I work with another person. Because like I said, I do things like human design. I do the energetic healing work. I do functional medicine testing. So it's a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects that will help to uncover the things that they need to work on and really get to the root of what's going on. But that specific situation, I would ask them, where did that story come from? And a lot of times we might think we don't know the answer, but it's because nobody ever asked you that question. If nobody ever asked you the question, where did that story of lack, of feeling like it's always going to be this way, where did that come from? Where do you think it came from? And then going from there to ask the deeper questions. And okay, if it was your father, are you willing to step out of your father's story that you'll always be lacking in some way financially? Again, it goes back to that willingness. Are you willing to step out of that story? And in that moment, They can say yes or they can say no, and the energy can or cannot shift depending on their answer, depending on their willingness. So it can literally happen in an instant if they are willing.
Mm. Thank you for that, Jalisa. Could you tell us a bit about those modalities you mentioned, the human design? If you could tell us a bit about the the different modalities that you use in your work.
Yes. So I am well versed in a lot of different modalities. Human design is a tool for self discovery and really deepening your spirituality. So they'll tell you, oh, there's no blueprint to life. There's no, one size fits all thing for you. But human design is based off of your date of birth, your time of birth, and location of birth. And it gives you insight to your most authentic self, the way that God designed you to be, whether it's to be the type of person that is very organized or not, or to be the type of person that works well with deadlines and due dates or not, or to be the type of person that is empathic or not. So it gives you a lot of different details about your specific being, your specific design, your specific personality, so that you'll be able to really recognize the things about yourself that may have been covered up, or even that you've released because of conditioning or because of your experiences, and really see yourself as your most authentic self and say, oh, there really isn't anything wrong with me. Oh, that is a part of who I am and it's okay. So for me, human design has opened so many doors of understanding for myself and the relationships with the people that I have, to see like, oh, literally I'll meet someone and I'm like, oh, you must be a manifesting generator. And they're like, oh, what? Because I've studied it so much, I'm able to really see the different aspects of human design in my interactions with people. And as they're learning it, they're like, oh my God, like I've never felt so seen in my life, because human design helps you to not only see yourself, but it helps you to see other people and why your relationship may be the way that it is with that person. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I mentioned, the energetic work. So I'm a Reiki master, but also studying something called energetic magic under a guy named Shiraz Babu. And it's really, like I said, a matter of helping and supporting people with uncovering those limiting beliefs and shifting them so that they can move forward the most authentic and healed version of themselves, without the conditioning, without those limiting beliefs, and without this idea that they have to behave or continue certain habits that are no longer supporting them. What else? I am trauma and money certified as well. So with that really supports the psychological aspect of where we are in our relationship with money, and really supports my kids. Supports regulating your nervous system around money. So that's where the trauma of money work comes in, really helping and supporting you with regulating your nervous system and your relationship with money. So you'll know, okay, if it comes time for me to sit down and do my budget, I know usually like before I did all of this work, it was like a big to do. You stressed out. You like, I don't know if I got enough money. I don't know if I did it right. So being in a space where you're able to recognize that and say, okay, I need to, before I sit down to do my budget, I need to take some deep breaths. Before I sit down to do my budget, I need to turn a specific type of music on to regulate my nervous system, so that this is shifting it to a more positive experience. But then on the other side of it, the energetic work, getting to the root of why is it that you have so much anxiety when you sit down to do your budget? Where did that come from? Mm-hmm. Is that something that you saw growing up? Is that an energy that you picked up from your parents? Because a lot of times our parents don't talk to us about money. They don't talk to us about budgeting or sitting down, because they don't even know what to do. Like they're winging it and trying to figure it out day to day to take care of you. So they don't have time to sit down and tell you, oh, this is what a budget looks like. This is how you manage your finances. This is how you pay your bills. So you pick up that energy subconsciously to say like, oh, well, I got to do this on my own. And that's where those limiting beliefs start to develop, because it's like, well, I got to do this on my own. I can't tell anybody I'm struggling financially. I can't tell anybody I'm stressed out when I sit down to do my budget. So the trauma of money work supports you with that. The energetic work supports you with really shifting those things on the energetic and spiritual side, so that your relationship with money, just like your relationship with yourself, is integrated and unified, the same goes with your money.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for breaking it down, Lisa. That's really wonderful because I'm a frequency alchemist and I know that it's all about the frequency. There's a frequency at which we are vibrating and a frequency at which money vibrates. And we need to match that frequency in order for us to really begin to attract it, which is what the law of attraction, Abraham Hicks talks about. Talks about how we need to develop and align ourselves. This is the physical ego self within us, align, which has all this limiting beliefs. This physical ego self has all these limiting beliefs within us. And that physical ego self really needs to feel seen, needs to feel understood, needs to feel loved. Because we have to do away with all the judgments and all the doubts, and not all, but some degree of judgments. And it's in levels. We're letting go of one level, we will see an increase in abundance, or another level. And it's all in layers. And I hear what you said about that instant. There is an instant jump in frequency, and we will see that difference in what our experience with abundance is like. And we can come to a place where we are continuing on that journey. And this is what Daily Soul Bytes, my book. Daily Soul Bytes really talks about the different perspectives between the physical ego self and the higher self. This is our infinite wisdom self. This is our spiritual being that we truly are. And these perspectives may be low and fear-based, or they may be high and love-based. And we have those different perspectives within us. And it's about really coming to understand those limiting fear-based perspectives and using whatever modality is available to us to shift. But we have to know that those limiting beliefs are not the only beliefs we hold. We also have within us these love-based beliefs that we can begin to align to more and more. Because sometimes we think we only have those fear-based beliefs within us, and there's no other way I could think. But Daily Soul Bites really helps to really expand those perspectives, expand our own understanding of the differences, the immensity of perspectives within us. That's where it starts, self-awareness. And this is what I also support my clients with in terms of energy healing. I'm also an energy practitioner, so I resonate with you quite a bit, Jalisa. So I'd love to know more about how you work. I know you are also an author.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a bit about your books.
Yes. So it's so funny that you're even asking me about that. So I recently added a publishing company to my brand because it's literally where my business started in 2018. I self-published my first book in 2018. And from there, just that experience that I had with that, it showed me that there was so much more work for me to do. I sat down to write my book in 20 hours over a span of 20 days. And people are like, how did you do that? It started with that decision to decide to do something that cuts off any other options, to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I've decided that I'm going to do it. So for me, that decision led to a almost sold out book launch. And I was like, oh, this is a business. Let me go ahead and get my LLC. So 2 days after my book launch, I filed for my LLC. It ended up getting accepted. I don't even think it took 24 hours. And it was like, wow, we're doing this. Like, okay, we're doing it. And from there, people started asking me, can you help me self-publish my book? Can you help me do it? Like, I've seen what you did. A lot of people attended my book launch and they're like, I want to do it too. And I started supporting people with coaching them through the self-publishing process. And from there, I realized I had a passion for finances and supporting people with financial coaching. So in addition to that, I shifted to supporting people with finances. I did the Dave Ramsey things and all of those type of things. But I just felt like it wasn't complete. Like, it wasn't the complete thing that it was for me to do. So I continued my studies. I continued exploring. I got my degree in natural health. I started working with a naturopathic doctor. And that was when it made sense. Like, it's more than just the self-publishing. It's more than just the finances. It's really supporting people with themselves. Because when they can shift the things that they need to within themselves, everything else around them shifts. So coming back to all of these things now with supporting people with publishing, supporting people with shifting and healing their relationship with money, but it really starts with that person. So for me, it's been about building community and building relationships with people so that they know that they don't have to do this life, this healing journey alone, and locking arms with people and giving them safe and brave spaces to know that regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what quote unquote mistakes you feel like you've made, that's not your final destination. And where you are right now in your healing journey is not your final destination. So when you have support, when you have accountability and community, healing becomes such a beautiful experience, such an easy experience, and doors just begin to open for you. So for me now, being the golden child, I didn't even talk about that. So where that came from was my mom. When she conceived me, my mom and dad were about to get divorced. And, being grown people, still being married, they, conceived me. I was considered the quote unquote oops baby. And my mom, prior to me, she had issues with infertility. So she had 3 miscarriages before me. And with my sister, she had her prematurely. And she had never carried a pregnancy full term. But 4 to 5 months into her pregnancy, they told her, you know what, your baby's going to have Down syndrome. They do the test, they run a different test for your baby. And they're like, yeah, your baby's going to have Down syndrome. She took, whatever information they gave her and, moved forward. 6 months into the pregnancy, they said, it's something else wrong with your baby. Your baby is going to be born without a stomach, and her esophagus and windpipe is going to be fused together. If you are to make it full term with this pregnancy, your baby has little to no chance of making it out alive. The best option for you would be to get an abortion. And her being a woman of faith, she said, you know what? I see the test results. I hear what you're saying, but I'm believing for a different outcome. And for her, at the time, her faith was rooted in the church. And she went to church, she went to a revival, told them what was going on. She had them pray over her and I. She said the only thing she remembers is feeling like her feet were being lifted off the floor and that God was pouring gold into her stomach. And after that experience, she went back to the doctor and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. She carried me full term in her pregnancy. And I'm here today to continue to share the story and share the legacy of faith that my mom's faith planted in me. So that's how I became the golden child. I recently rebranded as that to really speak to the healing capabilities that we have when we lean into our higher source, whether it's God, whether you call it source, whether you call it universe. It's all an understanding that there is something bigger than what we can see, something more than what we can see. So for me, it's really supporting people in that journey of understanding that we have the ability to heal ourselves and even the environment around us. So that's how I became the golden child, and why now I incorporate the energetic work and the spiritual work, because I was a church baby. So all of that other quote unquote woo-woo stuff, it was frowned upon. I'm a licensed minister. So it's like, to now be on the other side of it and to see the impact of it, I decided with my rebrand that I would incorporate all of those things that I was doing behind the scenes, like around the corner, not allowing people to see, because what are they going to think? She's a licensed minister. She's in the church. What are they going to think? So now my rebrand was really a rebirth to say, this is what it is. This is all of me. This is all of the gifts that God has given me to not only support myself, but the people that I come across in the world. So,
I love that. Thank you so much. I love that you're sharing this, Jalisa, because this is something that a lot of us go through. I also have a mom, she's passed now, but she was very strong in church. And it's really a challenge for us to really step beyond some of this conditioning and find our true self. It is not about right or wrong, it's just true. What is more true? I didn't find peace also until I became much more spiritual. And I love
mm-hmm.
sharing this because this is something that a lot of us go through. And I would love to know. I love that you're the golden child because that is such a powerful example of living life by experience. Because it's one thing for us to read about something, it's one thing for us to experience it. You actually being born into that family whereby there was something that was impossible that became possible. And this was something that nobody expected. So you must have been in that position where you are now having to believe in what may be impossible. Let the unknown unfold from a place of goodwill, from a place of expectancy. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. I still love to hear about your books because I know that you've written a couple of books, and I would love to hear, what the books are and where people can find you when they want to connect with you.
Yes, you did ask me that. Okay. I get so excited and so caught up. So my first book is It's All in Me, My Journey to Freedom and Living Abundantly. And that book was really before I got into the more spiritual side of things. So it is definitely a difference from what I believe and what I do now, but the framework is still the same. It's my freedom framework that really supported me with overcoming all of the traumatic experiences that I had, and not realizing that when I wrote that book, I was about to enter another traumatic experience, getting into a abusive marriage. So I self-published my book in February. I got married in August of that same year. And when I wrote the book, I didn't realize it was my freedom framework that I was going to use to get free from that marriage and also support other people along the way. To now, I literally just launched a book talk around the book. And I had one of the members, like, she's texting me. She's like, Jalisa, oh my gosh. Like, I can't, like, she was like, so ecstatic, just giving me like quotes from the book, like I didn't write it. But she's like, this is like, I needed this. So it's like to now be in a space where I'm really open to sharing even that version of my life. I literally just got a download 2 days ago about the second edition of the book, sharing this version of my life where I'm doing the spiritual work, I'm doing the energetic work, and all the other things that I've learned along the way since I self-published that first book in 2018. The second one that I did was through JJ Conway. She did a summit a while back, and the summit became a book, and it's called Healing My Sisters. So that's the second book. And then the one right behind me, this is my 30-day Calm Life Planner that I just self-published April of this year. And that is a planner to really support you with living a calmer life, having a calmer state of mind. And it's a framework, the Calm framework, to really stay calm. Stay calm in life and in your decision making. So I'm actually talking about it on my YouTube channel, the Calm Method of using it to heal your relationship with money. So I'm on YouTube at Jalisa the Golden Child, so you can learn more about the Calm Method. And all of my books are on Amazon. My first book, second book, and this planner are all on Amazon and on my website, jalisahardy.com.
Oh, wonderful. And you also have a membership that you're starting. Could you tell a bit about that?
Yes. So recently I had an experience where I woke up to text messages and emails from my bank saying that, asking me about some charges that were made at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. And I'm like, that's not me. But I talked about knowing and understanding that when your relationship with things shift and change. In that moment, when I saw those text messages and those emails, I didn't freak out. I just believed that everything was going to work out. I believe that I had the support that I needed. I believe that whether they got the money or not, that my bills will be taken care of. So in that moment, I realized it clicked. Like, the work you've been doing is really working. The work you've been doing is really working. Because being a single mom, it can be such a challenge taking care of 3 babies on your own. And there are days where I'm like, the math does not make sense, but things are still getting done. Things are still getting paid. And shifting my relationship with money helped me to get to that place where it was like, well, this is just an inconvenience. This is a distraction. I'm not going to allow it to shift my energy or shift my mood. I'm just going to roll with it and see where it takes me, see what lesson it is for me to learn from that. And in that moment, I began to pray for the person that did the fraud and send them Reiki energy. And I'm texting my VA in the moment about what's going on. And she's like, you are such a beautiful person to be able to pray for somebody that was trying to steal your money. And I'm like, I guess people don't do that. So that is where the Healed Money movement came from, that experience to be able to support other people, to know that whether it's a setback, whether it's an inconvenience, whether it's something that happens with you financially, there is support for you. There's a community of people that is on this journey of healing their relationship with money. And it's not just about your individual journey, because it's a generational thing. Me being able to be in this space in my relationship with money, I'm able to pass this down generation after generation so that they can have a healed relationship with money. And this is what I want to do with the Healed Money movement, to create generations of people that have a healed relationship with money, so that we're passing down generational blessings and not generational curses.
Well, and this is the membership, the Heal Money Movement is a membership on your website.
Yes.
People can find. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jalisa. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
And I'd love to thank our listeners and ask those who haven't subscribed to Jalisa Bytes show to subscribe, and also for you to grab Jalisa Hardy's books is on amazon.co.uk or amazon.com or Amazon, whichever country you're in. And also to connect with her for her Heal Money movement as a member on her website. And I do want to thank our listeners and our audience for joining us today. And I'll see you next time on the next episode of the Daily Soul Bites Show. Bye-bye.